Every morning when you open your eyes, you face two choices. Let the chaos of the world pull you under, or rise and shape the day on your own terms. That moment right at sunrise decides who you will become. And the Stoics knew, your morning isn't just the start of a day, it's the foundation of an entire life. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once wrote in Meditations, "When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself, today I will meet people who are intrusive, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, and rude. But I will not be angry, because they are simply human." He didn't write these words to complain, he wrote them to armor his mind. Because a good day doesn't begin with coffee, it begins with your mindset. And in today's video, we're diving into 9 Stoic principles that can turn your mornings into a declaration of inner strength, so you don't just survive the day, you own it. You should listen to this video every morning. Let's get started. Part 1. Set clear goals and intentions. Imagine this. You walk out of your house with no destination, no map, no plan. You wander aimlessly all day, and by the time the sun sets, you can't even explain what you truly accomplished. That's how most people live. They wake up, grab their phones, and immediately get pulled into the endless stream of emails, texts, and work demands, reacting to everything, but choosing nothing. The Stoics had a simple but powerful lesson. No ship ever reaches its harbor without a rudder. Your morning intention is that rudder. Without it, you drift. With it, you steer. So instead of letting your phone dictate your first thoughts, take just 5 quiet minutes each morning to write down 3 clear intentions for the day. They don't need to be grand or overwhelming. In fact, the smaller and more specific, the better. Today, I will listen more than I react. Today, I will not let one negative comment ruin my mood. Today, I will take 10 minutes to call someone I love. When you write them down, you plant a seed in your mind, and throughout the day, your subconscious will search for ways to nurture that seed, guiding your actions back to what matters. I once coached a friend who worked in a busy corporate office. She told me that every evening she left work exhausted, saying, "I don't even know what I did today, but I know I didn't live for myself." She began practicing what I call the morning intention ritual. For 3 weeks, every morning she wrote just one line, "Today, I will work with patience." That single sentence changed the way she handled deadlines, conversations, and even stressful meetings. The amazing part? Other people noticed. Her co-workers sensed the difference. Her energy shifted, her presence became calmer, and she no longer looked drained at the end of the day. That's the hidden power of intention. It doesn't just change you, it changes how the world responds to you. Part 2. Discipline as freedom. When most people hear the word discipline, they think of punishment, restriction, or something that takes the joy out of life. But the Stoics flipped that definition on its head. To them, discipline wasn't a prison, it was freedom. Think about it. The person who can't control their cravings is not free. The person who can't resist distractions is not free. The person who only works when they feel motivated is trapped by their own moods. Real freedom is the ability to choose what's best for you, even when your emotions beg you to do otherwise. Epictetus put it simply, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Discipline is the invisible bridge between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. Without it, your goals remain dreams. With it, those dreams become inevitable. Picture this. You've decided to start running in the morning. Day 1, you're excited. Day 2, you're still motivated. But by day 3, the alarm rings and you hear that little voice, "Just stay in bed, you deserve a break." Motivation fades. But discipline? Discipline gets you up, ties your shoes, and pushes you out the door. And in that moment, it's not just a workout, it's an act of self-respect. You're telling yourself, "I deserve health, strength, and a better life." Discipline is like a muscle. At first it feels heavy, awkward, uncomfortable. But the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Soon, the actions that once felt impossible, waking up early, saying no to junk food, finishing what you start, become second nature. And here's the paradox. Once you build discipline, life actually feels easier. You don't waste energy debating with yourself because the decision was already made. You've chosen who you want to be, and your habits follow that choice. The pain of discipline is temporary. The regret of not trying lasts forever. So every small disciplined act you take, making your bed, sticking to your plan, saying no to temptation, is a brick laid in the foundation of your future freedom. Part 3. Service as purpose. If discipline is how you master yourself, service is how you connect to something greater than yourself. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment doesn't come from wealth, status, or personal comfort. It comes from what you give. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Think about that. Every action, no matter how small, has ripples far beyond what you can see. A kind word, a moment of patience, a helping hand, these can change someone's entire day, even their life. Yet in today's world, we're told to chase success only for ourselves. Bigger houses, flashier cars, more likes and followers. But here's the paradox. The more we obsess over ourselves, the emptier we feel. Service flips that script. It shifts the question from "what can I take" to "what can I give?" And that's where meaning begins. Consider the story of Anthony Ray Hinton. Wrongly imprisoned for nearly 30 years, he had every reason to give up on humanity. Instead, he chose to bring hope to those around him. He cracked jokes, lifted spirits, and became a source of light in one of the darkest places imaginable, death row. Even without freedom, he gave others strength. That's the power of service. But service doesn't have to be heroic or grand. It can be simple. Listening more than you speak. Helping a colleague without being asked. Taking 10 minutes to call someone who feels forgotten. These are small seeds that grow into deep human connections. And here's the truth. When you serve others, you don't just lift them, you lift yourself. You break out of the prison of self-absorption. You discover gratitude, humility, and a sense of purpose that no material achievement can match. So ask yourself each morning, how can I make someone's day lighter today? Because when you do, you'll find that service isn't just about kindness. It's about building a life that echoes far beyond your own. Part 4. Humility as strength. In a culture obsessed with self-promotion, humility might sound like weakness, but the Stoics saw it differently. For them, humility was not about shrinking yourself. It was about seeing the world clearly, without the distortion of ego. Ego tells us we're always right. Ego whispers that our success is ours alone. Ego convinces us that listening is optional because we already know enough. But humility breaks those illusions. It reminds us that we're students first, that wisdom doesn't come from boasting but from listening, observing, and admitting how much we don't yet know. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at the time, an emperor commanding armies and ruling an empire. Yet at night, he would sit and write notes to himself, reminding his own heart to stay grounded, to be kind, to resist arrogance. If the most powerful man in the world needed daily reminders to stay humble, how much more do we? Modern research actually backs this up. Studies show that humble leaders earn more trust and loyalty from their teams than arrogant ones. Why? Because people can sense authenticity. When you lead with humility, others feel seen, valued, and respected. That creates strength, not weakness. Humility also transforms how we handle success and failure. When we succeed, humility keeps us from being intoxicated by pride. When we fail, humility helps us see mistakes not as personal doom, but as lessons. It gives us resilience. Take, for example, the leaders Jim Collins wrote about in Good to Great. The most impactful ones weren't flashy or loud. They were fiercely determined but personally humble. They gave credit to their teams, accepted blame themselves, and built legacies that outlasted their titles. So, What does humility look like in your daily life? It might mean asking questions instead of giving all the answers, saying, "I don't know," when you don't, listening fully instead of waiting to speak. Small practices like these disarm pride and open the door to wisdom. Humility doesn't dim your light. It makes it shine brighter because it's real. And that's why, to the Stoics, humility wasn't weakness at all. It was one of the highest forms of strength. Part 5. Facing fear. Fear. It's the invisible wall that stops most people from living the life they dream about. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. And yet, the Stoics remind us, fear itself is rarely the enemy. It's how we respond to it. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. How many sleepless nights have you had worrying about something that never even happened? How many opportunities have you lost because your mind created a worst-case scenario that never came true? Here's the truth. Fear is just a story your brain tells to keep you safe. But safety and growth cannot coexist. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, and betrayal, yet his writings are filled with calm, not panic. Why? Because he understood fear is only powerful if we bow to it. Imagine you're terrified of public speaking. Your heart races, your hands shake, your mind screams, "What if I fail?" But what if you step onto the stage anyway? Even if your voice cracks, even if you stumble, you've already won because you refuse to let fear dictate your choices. That victory builds courage, and courage compounds. Every time you face fear head-on, you reclaim territory that fear once controlled. It's like expanding your inner map. What was once off-limits becomes familiar ground. The swimmer who once feared water now feels at home in the waves. The entrepreneur who once feared rejection now sees every no as a step closer to yes. And here's the Stoic insight. Fear points directly to what matters most. Afraid of starting that business? It's because you care. Nervous about saying how you feel? It's because love matters. Fear reveals your values and gives you a map to growth. So the next time fear shows up, don't run. Thank it. Use it as a compass. Take a small step forward. Because on the other side of fear isn't destruction, it's freedom. Part 6. Faith in yourself. If fear is the wall that blocks your path, then faith in yourself is the hammer that breaks it down. Without self-belief, no amount of discipline or strategy will carry you through the storms of life. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus, born into slavery and crippled for life, could have lived in despair. Instead, he believed his mind was free, and that belief transformed him into one of history's greatest teachers. Here's the reality. The world will doubt you. People will underestimate you. Life will test you. But the voice that matters most is the one inside your own head. If that voice constantly whispers, "I can't," "I'm not ready," "I'm not good enough," then you've lost before you even begin. But if it says, "I can learn, I can adapt, I can endure," then nothing can truly stop you. Think of Thomas Edison. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not arrogance, that's faith. Faith that every attempt was a step forward, even if the result wasn't what he wanted. That kind of belief doesn't come from ego. It comes from an unshakable commitment to keep moving. And here's the secret. Self-belief is not about thinking you're perfect. It's about knowing you're capable of growth. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I may not have all the answers, but I have the strength to find them." I once knew a man who always wanted to run a marathon, but never trained because he thought he wasn't a runner. One day, he decided to simply jog for 5 minutes. The next day, 10 minutes. A year later, he crossed the finish line of his first marathon. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was internal. He learned that belief is built, step by step, through action. So when doubt creeps in, as it always does, don't fight it with empty affirmations. Fight it with evidence. Remember the times you've overcome, the challenges you've faced, the storms you've survived. That's your proof. That's your foundation. The Stoics would remind us, Real strength comes from within. Believe in yourself not because it's easy, but because without that belief, you'll never take the first step toward the life you're meant to live. Part 7. Living fully in the present. We spend so much of our lives either dragging the chains of the past or chasing ghosts of the future. We replay old mistakes, wondering, what if? Or we anxiously script 1,000 tomorrows that may never come. And, in the process, we miss the only thing that's real this moment right now. The Stoics were obsessed with the present because they understood a simple truth. Life is never lived in the past or future. It's always happening here, in this breath, in this conversation, in this sunrise. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Yet, in his meditations, he reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. Even with wars, plagues, and politics pressing in, he knew that peace could only be found by grounding himself in the now. Think about it. When you eat a meal but scroll your phone the entire time, you don't taste the food. When you talk with a loved one but your mind is already at tomorrow's meeting, you don't hear their heart. That's how life slips through your fingers, not in dramatic tragedies, but in small, unnoticed moments. Living fully in the present doesn't mean ignoring the past or abandoning the future. It means refusing to let them steal your attention from what you can touch, influence, and cherish today. I once met a father who realized he had spent years thinking about work during family dinners. His kids grew up fast, and one day he looked back and asked, "Where did the time go?" The truth was, it was there all along, he just wasn't present enough to live it. Being present is not complicated. Take a deep breath. Notice the way the light falls on the room. Listen, not to respond, but to understand. When you walk, actually feel your steps. These small acts are how you reclaim your life from distraction. The Stoics would say, happiness isn't a destination at the end of your journey, it's in the steps themselves. If you can master the art of presence, you'll discover that peace, joy, and meaning were never somewhere else. They were always here, waiting for you. Part 8. Say positive words. What's the very first thing you say to yourself when you wake up? Be honest. For most people, it's something like, I'm so tired, or today is going to be rough. And without realizing it, you've already programmed your mind to expect struggle before the day even begins. The Stoics understood the hidden power of language. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds. Plant negative words, and your day will grow thorns. Plant positive ones, and your day blossoms with energy and purpose. Epictetus reminded his students that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And how do we react? It often begins with the words we choose. When you wake up and say, I can handle this, or today I will grow, you're training your mind to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities. And this isn't about fake cheerleading. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. Positivity, the Stoic way, is grounded in truth. It's about acknowledging reality. Yes, the world is tough. Yes, life is unfair, but also reminding yourself that you are tougher and you can endure. I once worked with someone who, every morning, would write a single positive phrase on a sticky note and put it on her laptop. Some days it was simple. I am patient. Other days it was bold. I will not be shaken. At first, it felt silly. But over time, her co-workers noticed a shift. She was calmer in meetings, more resilient under pressure, and more magnetic in conversation. Why? Because her words became her mindset, and her mindset shaped her actions. Imagine what happens if you do this daily. Instead of saying, I'm exhausted, you say, I'm recharging with every breath. Instead of, this is too hard, you say, this is my training. Suddenly, obstacles stop being walls and start becoming weights that build your strength. So tomorrow morning, try this. Before touching your phone, before checking emails, speak 3 positive truths out loud. Let your words set the tone. because when your tongue plants seeds of strength, your day can only grow stronger. Part 9. Reflect on your dreams. Every morning, before the world comes crashing in with notifications, deadlines, and noise, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I really chasing? Because here's the truth. If you don't take time to reflect on your dream, you'll spend your life building someone else's. The Stoics taught that purpose is not discovered in a single grand moment, but uncovered little by little, each day, through reflection and action. Your dream isn't just a fantasy or some vague wish. It's the deepest expression of your values, your passions, and your calling. And when you reconnect with it every morning, you remind yourself why today matters. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "Stop drifting. You're not going to read your own memoir someday. Your actions right now are the story." He knew that every day we either step closer to our dream or drift further away. Take a simple practice. When you wake up, visualize your dream as if it were already real. Picture yourself finishing that book, running that marathon, starting that business, or simply living with greater peace. Feel it, taste it. Let your mind rehearse success, not fear. That vision becomes fuel, pushing you to take action, even when the day feels ordinary. I remember a young artist I once met. Every morning, she'd sketch for just 20 minutes before work. At first, no one cared. Her art went unnoticed, and she questioned herself constantly. But she told me, those 20 minutes weren't about proving myself to the world. They were about proving to myself that my dream was worth it. Years later, her persistence paid off. Galleries began showcasing her art. But her true victory wasn't fame. It was that daily act of remembering her dream and staying loyal to it. Your dream doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be yours. And when you take even a few minutes each morning to reflect on it, you're planting direction, clarity, and meaning into your day. So tomorrow, ask yourself, what do I dream of becoming? And then live your day as if every choice were a vote for that dream. Because in the end, a fulfilled life is nothing more than a collection of mornings where you remembered why you were here. Conclusion: the morning commitment. The 9 Stoic principles for your morning aren't distant philosophies. They're seeds you can plant starting today. You don't need to practice them all at once, just pick one, repeat it each morning, and watch it grow. Like training in the gym, small daily reps build unshakable strength over time. So tell me in the comments, which principle will you begin with tomorrow morning? If this video gave you new perspective, share it to spread Stoic wisdom. And if you're ready to walk further on this path, subscribe to The Stoic Habit. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, remember, you're not just waking up to live another day, you're waking up to become stronger.